charge of rectifying this situation, what decisions would you make? How can we best rectify the whole problem of segregation?
Well, I think it will entail many forces working together. There isn't one answer or one force that will solve the problem. I think it means that the federal government will have to do a great deal in taking a positive, forthright stand. The moderates of the white South will have to become more courageous and positive in their stands, and liberals all over the country. And I think the church, religious organizations have a great deal to do in this period of transition. And the attitude of the Negro himself, he must be firm, he must work continuously for first-class citizenship, but certainly he must not use second-class methods to gain it. I think the methods are very important in thinking in terms of the end.
Well, what do you mean by second-class methods?
Well, I would think of violence as a second-class method. I would think of hatred as a second-class method. It seems to me that it is possible to move on toward the goal of justice with wise restraint and calm reasonableness, not compromising principles and never capitulating to the whims and caprices of the guardians of a deadening status quo, but at the same time maintaining a positive attitude of goodwill.
Dr. King, how long do you think it will be before the Negro in the southern states attains racial equality, social equality?
Well, I would have to make a distinction here between desegregation and integration. Now, on the question of desegregation, I think within 10 or 15 years we will achieve desegregation. We will break down the legal barriers in almost all areas, except in the most remote situations. Now, when we think in terms of integration, which is genuine intergroup, interpersonal living, that will take longer. I think, however, before the turn of the century, we will have moved a great deal toward an integrated society.
Do you believe, Dr. King, that racial and religious prejudice, generally speaking, feeds on ignorance?
Well, I think so. I think this is certainly
ignorance on both sides, I mean.
Pardon?
Ignorance on both sides.
Yes, I think so.
Dr. King, you mentioned the church's role in this. Some of the churches in the South are still segregated, aren't they?
Oh yes, by and large, the churches in the South are segregated.
How can they preach the Christian religion and segregate people? This must seem ironic to you as a minister yourself.
Yes, it is, but this is a perennial problem, this whole problem of the gulf or the gap between our profession and our practice.
Billy Graham changed his mind on this thing, didn't he?
Yes, he has taken in recent years a very active, a very strong stand against segregation. There was a time that he would even preach before segregated audiences, but now he refuses to preach to any audience that is segregated, which I think is a marvelous step.
Am I right in suspecting there's a large body of the white South who do not raise their voice, but who have more liberal views than we get in Canada from the newspaper reports?
Oh yes, I think you're quite right. I'm convinced that there are many more moderates and people of goodwill in the white South than we're able to see on the surface. But they are afraid to speak out today, feared of social, political, and economic reprisals.
Dr. King, you recently visited India and had talks with Mr. Nehru, and tonight you tell us it's useful and desirable that there should be no violence in your cause. Did you get these ideas from Mahatma Gandhi?
Yes, I would say from Mahatma Gandhi and Jesus. My whole Christian background had a great deal to do with my coming to this conclusion that love and nonviolence should be the regulating ideals in any struggle for human dignity. And along with this, I read Mahatma Gandhi in my student days and got a great deal from him.